What really causes imposter syndrome? Something else that I think just about, every entrepreneur at some point on their entrepreneurial journey will have experienced. And so I'm going to help you today to understand what it is and that you can get rid of it. So if we do feel that we're suffering from imposter syndrome, we'll have low self-confidence, we'll perhaps feel like we're a failure, we've got low self-worth, we feel that we're not good enough, we don't believe in ourselves. Most people do not believe in themselves. And did you know that over 70% of us will really feel this quite strongly, and it will inhibit the success of your business at some point in your life. So I would love to introduce here Tom. Oh, he's an amazing guy, Tom. He is a photographer, a brilliant photographer. My goodness me, his pictures were second to none. So he does a lot of landscapes, but he also does weddings, and he does portraits of animals as well. So he is an absolutely brilliant photographer. It's got incredible reviews as well. And Tom came to me because he was beginning to argue with his wife. He felt he was not good enough in what he was doing. He was desperate to be top of his game. Everything he did had to be absolute perfection. But the problem is, as a failed perfectionist, which is what I am, many years of trying to be a perfectionist, there is no such thing as perfection. So this poor guy was really failing at every fence. He'd set himself up for failure, and he was really suffering from stress. His skin wasn't good. He was in really bad shape. On the outside, people thought, wow, he's got an amazing business here, But he just did not feel good on the inside, if you like. He really believed that his business was running on luck. And at any moment, this luck was going to run out. He really honestly felt that. So his biggest challenge was that he just didn't feel good enough, and he didn't know why. And he felt inadequate. He wasn't getting up to the par in so many areas of his life. And so with the work that Tom and I did together, what we discovered was that Tom, as a little boy, was brought up by two lovely parents, lovely mum, lovely dad, very high achievers. His parents were both doctors, they were top of their game, and they were massively high achievers. And they wanted the best for their little boy. So what Tom had grown up with was his parents really pushing him to be the best he could in whatever he did. So if Tom got 9 out of 10 in a maths test, this was seen as not good enough. He could see the look in his father's eye. He could see his mother shrug her shoulders. They were looking for the 10 out of 10. So Tom was constantly trying to be the best he could be. But if it wasn't the top, the 10 out of 10, he felt like a complete failure. So the work that Tom and I did together, he discovered that this was where this had all started. This was the cause for him of his imposter syndrome, not believing that he was enough. So what we did is we changed Tom's response to his parents' attitude to his work. And so he felt good about himself. He said 9 out of 10 is great, 8 out of 10 is great, And the more that Tom was able to sit into this mindset, the better he felt about himself. And amazingly, what happened to Tom was his confidence just blossomed, and it grew in every area of his life. So not only did his business grow, his marriage was a lot more meaningful, and he felt a lot more satisfaction in life. And that's the key, because what's the point in creating an amazing business if you don't feel good about it? What's the point? You'll probably just go on to create another business in the hope that I'll feel good next time. So that was Tom's little story. So you at home right now, I invite you to start looking at areas in your life where you just don't feel good enough. And you can ask yourself these 3 questions. Every time you start doubting yourself, ask yourself, is it true? And it's probably not. And then ask yourself, is it logical to think in this way? That, I was told this stuff when I was 10 years old. Is it logically for me to still be thinking like this? And is it serving me? So this was a big part of my journey, where my parents are very much, high achievers and perfectionists themselves. And I was very similar to Tom. I never felt I was good enough in their eyes. Whatever I did was never enough. And that took me back to maths. I'm really, really not very good at maths. I don't know how my kids are all amazing at maths. I'm not. I don't know how the genealogy works in that. But I really struggled with maths. And if I got, 9 out of 10 in some maths test, I was seen as not being good enough. And so I grew up with that feeling of just not being enough. But you at home, by asking yourself these questions, you can really start to change your neural network, your beliefs, your programs, and your thoughts. Just because your parents or your teachers or, your caregivers thought something in some way, or society tells you something, that doesn't mean it's right for you. Because we're only ever going to be successful, truly successful in life, when you come from that authentic place. And that authentic place is what is right for you. If you think 8 out of 10 is good, good. That's all you need. That's enough. I encourage you to ask for help. Asking for help, putting your hand up and saying, this is not working for me, is such a sign of strength. Why? Because it's not easy to do. So all you've got to do is find someone who knows a little bit more than you do. That's all it is. And no one ever became successful on their own. Any successful person in life became successful because of the people they asked for help around them. So I really encourage you to do that. Do not try and do this by yourself. Honestly, it's the smartest thing to ask for help.